that. Chris Webber told the packed courtroom everything about Jackie's double life, from fake charities and secret hotel stays to messages that made it seem like Jackie had a second abortion that she didn't tell Doug about while she was with Chris. The jury gasped, Doug almost passed out, and Jackie was shaking, quiet, and completely naked. So, how did we get to this point? How did Chris get those texts? And what else is Jackie hiding behind her carefully crafted facade? Oh, trust me, it goes a lot deeper than that. Let's get started. Chris Webber didn't just testify, he blew up. What started as a normal day in court turned into a media disaster. You could hear every jaw in the room hit the floor at the same time when he pulled out those texts. That was it for Jackie Christie. These messages are so crazy and bad that even the court reporter had to stop typing for a second to say, "What the heck?" But before we go all out, let's take a step back, because this was never just about the courtroom. This was years of lies, lust, and loyalty coming to a head in front of cameras. A trembling judge and a daughter stuck in the middle, Chris Webber walked into that courtroom with nothing but a slim black folder. By the time he left, Jackie's image was scorched. Doug was begging his lawyer for mercy, and Chantel, rumored to have left the courthouse in tears, refusing to speak to either of them. So what was in those texts? Who sent what? And why did Chris feel the need to make them public? Now let's peel this all back, boss. Part 1, incoming full 1,200-word blast. Starting now 3 weeks ago, no one could have predicted that Chris Webber, cool, collected, always behind the scenes, would be the one to light the courtroom on fire. But on the morning of the hearing, when he stepped inside holding that slim black folder and wearing a deadpan expression, even the security guard watching the door looked uncomfortable. Now picture this. Jackie Christie was sitting in the front row, her head held high as if Doug wasn't about to emotionally cut her head off. Christie looked pale, tired, and barely blinked. Chantel, who wasn't even in the room, was supposedly told by her therapist to stay away from places that made her angry. This wasn't just a sentencing hearing for Doug, it was karma, giving him VIP front row tickets to a truth that had been hiding in plain sight for too long. Then it started. The judge calls Webber to the stand and the room gets tense. Jackie fidgets, Chris clears his throat, puts down the folder, and drops the first bomb. Doug stares as the cameras come to life. He starts by saying, like, "It's just another Tuesday, Your Honor. I've been quiet for years, but since the world is already halfway into this mess, I think it's time they see the rest." Then he opens the folder that has printed out text messages with notes, highlights, and timestamps, and not just any texts. These were between Jackie and Chris during what she once said publicly was a very confusing time. Not clear? Try criminal. The first message, Chris read a note from Jackie at 2:14 a.m.ing that said, "Doug thinks I'm at my sister's. I miss how you look at me. Being with you makes me feel alive." Boom, the cork stops making noise and the air gets thick. Doug's mouth drops open as if he has just been tasered. Jackie stares straight ahead without blinking, and the crowd is in shock. Orders are texting their editors like crazy, bloggers are rushing to go live, and even the stenographer is giving the judge a side eye like, "Do I have to type this?" But Chris isn't done yet. He flips to a message from only 6 months ago. "Sometimes I watch Chantel and think about what could have happened if we hadn't let fear control us. That picture from Maui is still in my possession." Doug looks at Jackie with eyes full of anger, disbelief, and sadness all at once. This wasn't just a one-night stand from the early 2000s. It was about lying over and over again. Chris says there's a lot more to this story, but Jackie was really playing both sides while pretending to be the perfect wife of loyalty and love. Jackie allegedly deleted some messages, but they were found in his backup messages. These messages not only confirm that their emotional and possibly physical affair is still going on, but they also suggest that Jackie used Doug's money and reputation to hide her true intentions. Chris tells the court, "This woman had 2 lives, one in public with Doug and one in private with me. When she told me to play nice, I did, but after what I've seen in these past few weeks, I'm done." The judge tries to bring things back to normal. Jackie tries to say something to her lawyer in a low voice. Doug just sits there shaking with a pale face and clenched hands, staring at a spot on the floor like he hopes it will open up and swallow him whole. But the crowd loves it, and Twitter blows up in minutes. Weeberax trends all over the world. People begin posting screenshots from old episodes of Basketball Wives, pointing out how Jackie has been missing for a long time, her mysterious quotes and phone calls late at night. Fans are so calming, like it's a full-time job. That's when a second leak happens, this time from someone close to the court case. Chris supposedly didn't read out loud one of the messages that said, "I've thought about leaving him more times than I can count. I only trust you with the truth. Don't make me wish I hadn't done this." The truth is that Chantel may have always thought something was wrong with her father, that Jackie told Chris to stay out of trouble because she wasn't ready to blow up the empire, and that the legal team is trying to get back a deleted video call from Jackie's old phone. You think that's it? Please. Chris calmly finishes his testimony. He puts the papers away and sits back down as if he didn't just throw a match into a pile of family secrets that were soaked in gasoline. Doug's lawyer stands up and asks for a short break. Jackie looks like she's aged 10 years in 10 minutes. One witness says she heard Jackie whisper he promised he'd never read those out loud as they leave the courtroom. Chris, on the other hand, has no regrets. He walks out, nods to the press, and says, "Sometimes the truth hurts and sometimes it heals." It's late either way. In the meantime, Doug finally breaks down in the hallway of the courthouse. He hits the wall with his hand and yells, "He betrayed me, my own brother," before storming past security and going into the back conference room. There are a lot of reporters around, and one from Shade Room tries to find out if Doug and Chris were ever close behind the scenes. Another person says that security camera footage from a Sacramento hotel in 2021 shows Jackie and Chris having a heated argument. This isn't just a scandal, it's a full-on media massacre, because now people aren't just asking what happened between Jackie and Chris, they're asking how long she's been faking it. When did Doug know what? And is Chantel even talking to her parents? The floodgates are open and the water is bad for you. As this crazy mess moves on to the next part of the trial, everyone is watching the next witnesses. Doug might even take the stand, and what he plans to say could either save him or ruin Jackie's last bit of credibility for good. But if anyone thought that outburst in court was the end of it, they were wrong. Chris Webber wasn't just holding on to one receipt, he had a lot more. The judge got things back in order and kicked Doug out of the courtroom. But he kept yelling, "You lied to me, Jackie." Chris calmly fixed his tie and turned back to the stand, as if nothing had happened. But then he took out his phone. He said in a serious tone, "Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'd like to read a few text messages out loud." You could really hear the gasps from the gallery. Jackie's lawyers whispered quickly. Chris Webber was calm, deadly calm, and then he started reading. Her face went pale and her hands shook in her lap. Jackie to Chris on July 8, 2016. "I want to tell Doug the truth, but he would never get over it. You're the only person who ever made me feel safe." The courtroom stopped. Jackie told Chris on August 12, 2017, "He's so busy coaching that he doesn't even see me sneak out. You always knew how to pay attention." "Oh my God," one juror said out loud. Chris didn't stop there. He kept reading message after message, year after year. It was a digital trail of betrayal and manipulation, and it was clear that the woman had built an entire second life behind Doug's back. But the worst part is that some of the messages weren't just emotional, they were also planned and organized. "If I bring Chantel, he won't ask questions, so we'll call it a charity trip." You're not just her biological father, you've always been there for her more than Doug has. Jackie's whole face fell into her hands. People said they heard Chantel crying uncontrollably after she had been hiding in the hallway. A court clerk brought Jackie a box of tissues. In the meantime, Twitter went crazy with Jackie Christie was trending all over the world in just 14 minutes. But that wasn't the end. No, because that's when the big one came. Chris slowly scrolled down and said, "This one is from last year. On March 18, Jackie told me, 'Doug is broke and I'm tired of pretending that you and I built Chantel's future, not him. You should have been the one to walk the red carpets.'" That courtroom was completely quiet, you all. You could almost hear Jackie's reputation break into tiny pieces. The judge looked shocked too. A courtroom reporter tweeted, "I've covered 9 murder trials. Nothing compares to what I just saw." And then there was the aftershock because Jackie didn't say anything. She didn't scream or deny. She just whispered something that no one heard at first. But lip readers online said she said he wasn't supposed to keep those. Let that sink in. They aren't fake. He isn't lying. He just wasn't supposed to keep them. Chris Webber got off the stand, walked by Jackie, and didn't even look at her. The bailiffs took him out the side door, but not before paparazzi got a picture of him smirking in the hallway. Outside the courthouse, things got crazy. People who were protesting held signs that said "Justice for Doug" and showed the web of lies. Chantel, who is now the unwilling center of it all, posted a black square on Instagram with no caption. This only made make people think that she is completely done with